seeing, sir.
That's the default page. If you're getting the default page also, that's fine.
Okay. Okay, sir. Thank you very much, sir.
Anything more, Kaiser?
That's it, sir. Thank you, sir.
You're from which location?
I'm from Tamil Nadu, Vellore, sir.
Golden Temple.
Yes, correct, sir.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Ankit, Pramanik.
Yes, sir. Good morning.
Good morning.
Sir, I have a question which is related to EBS. Means I have been using AWS from the past few months. I have seen quite a bit strange thing that if my instances are turned off, still I get a billing for EBS.
Yes.
Means I don't know why this is happening.
Yes. Even the stopped instances are also billable. Okay. If you don't want this, you need to permanently terminate it. Okay.
But if I'm not using, then means if my computer is turned off, then how can the storage consumption get increased? That is my
Even though
question.
your computer is turned off,
Yes.
AWS has allocated some RAM, some hard disk to your machine.
Okay.
They have allocated, isn't it?
Yes.
It's up to you whether you're using it or not. They have allocated the infrastructure, so you need to pay for that infrastructure. Did you understand?
Okay. Yeah, sure.
Yes,
Thank you.
that's the reason. Okay, so that's the reason. Whenever you don't want it, please terminate it.
Okay. Thank you.
Last question before moving into this question. Yes, Swaroop Kumar.
Hi, Sunil. Good morning.
Good morning. Tell me, Swaroop, your question.
Yeah. So related to AMI, so can we move the AMI images to different regions?
We have moved it, right? We have copied AMI from
to different regions.
We have moved from Mumbai region to Singapore region, isn't it? Yesterday's class.
I have created the AMI, but I cannot. I couldn't move.
AMI. There's an option called copy AMI. Once you copy AMI, destination region, you select it as Singapore region.
Yeah.
AMI
Then I
In
missed.
the session, we have seen how to copy AMI from one region to other region.
Yeah. Then I think I missed it. Yeah. Thanks, Sunil.
Thank you. Kaiser, I want to have a discussion with you. You can unmute now.
Yeah, sure, sir.
Can you guess what you mean by auto-scaling?
Yes, sir. So auto-scaling is like when, so with the assumption I'm telling. So like whenever the load gets increases into the server, so rather manually increasing the web server, like it is automatically the size will get increased.
You're right, perfectly right, Kaiser. Okay.
Yeah.
So let's go ahead and learn the concept of auto-scaling.
Sure, sir.
Let's go on. This is our agenda for today's session. We'll understand this is a time-consuming example, so we will continuously, without any break, we will continuously perform all these activities. It will take definitely more than 1 hour. We'll understand what is auto-scaling. Launch configuration. What is launch configuration? What is auto-scaling group? We will also experience a new service called as SNS. Right from day one, we are sticking to one service called as EC2. In this session, we will experience one more service called as SNS, simple notification service. We'll also experience one more service called as CloudWatch. What is the use of the services? I explain you, and then we'll also learn how to add policies, scaling policies. This is a plan for our today's session. So without any delay, let's go ahead and understand the concept of auto-scaling. I have prepared a very good documentation. This documentation will be helpful for you when you're practicing. Look at the documentation. The steps which you need to follow: create load balancer, create launch configuration, auto-scaling, and each step by step I have clearly mentioned the documentation. Step 2, step 3, what you have to do, step 4, step 5, and step 6. Followed the deletion process so that you will not get the bill. So everything is perfectly documented. Please follow this, understand this example, and according to the notes, you please practice so that it will be very helpful in the interview. They'll definitely ask you what are the steps will be involved to enable auto-scaling in EC2. Okay, let's try to understand what is auto-scaling. Auto-scaling helps you to ensure that you have correct number of EC2 instances available. to handle the load for your application. What is the correct number of EC2 instances? You cannot define always the correct number of EC2 instances. Generally, what we have learned when you're learning about the concept of load balancer, we have practically experienced the concept of load balancer. We have one EC2 machine, we have second EC2 machine. Both the EC2 machines are attached to both the EC2 machines are attached to load balancer. The user request will go to the load balancer, and load balancer will distribute the load. This is what we know it. The advantage of this kind of load balancer is that in case if one machine is down, users will not get any users will not have any problem, because the load balancer will distribute to the second EC2 machine, so that the balance is distributed perfectly. So we know this. Assuming one EC2 machine can handle 100 requests, parallelly 100 requests can be handled by one EC2 machine. So here, how many EC2 machines we are having? We have 2 EC2 machines. So that means the threshold limit is 200. If one EC2 machine can handle 100 requests, so we have 2 second EC2 machines. So total it can also handle one more 100. So total it can handle 200 requests. When the traffic is increasing more, if it is more than 200, even both the machines is not sufficient to handle the load. If number of users are increasing, number of users who are accessing the website is increasing, do you know one quick analysis given by Amazon Prime? In the pandemic season, in the Corona pandemic season, Amazon Prime subscribers are increased by 400%. In the pandemic season, Amazon Prime and Netflix customers has been tripled. So dynamically numbers are getting increased. Number of people who are accessing the content are dynamically increasing. So when the traffic dynamically increases, we should not log into our AWS account of the client and then we will not manually create the EC2 machine. EC2 machine should be created automatically to handle the load. And the traffic is dynamic. You may never know when the traffic increases and you may never know when the traffic decreases. When the traffic increases, automatically the new EC2 machine should be created. At the same time, when the traffic decreases, what should happen? We should remove the EC2 machines. Why to maintain those number of EC2 machines when the traffic is decreasing? We should remove the EC2 machines automatically. Adding should be done automatically. Removing should be done automatically. Why should we remove EC2 machines? Obviously, when there are more number of EC2 machines, the bill will be more for the client. As an AWS engineer, you should make sure that the bill is perfectly as per the requirements. We should avoid unnecessary bill. So when the traffic decreases automatically, we should remove the EC2 machines. So which concept helps you to add the number of EC2 machines automatically and remove the EC2 machines automatically? It's all AutoScale. So using AutoScaling feature, you can define the right number of targets. Do you think 10 EC2 machines are correct? Or do you think 100 EC2 machines are correct? It all depends upon the traffic. And the traffic, according to the traffic, the web servers gets created and removed accordingly. So that's the concept of AutoScaling. You will create collection of EC2 instances called as AutoScaling group. Don't worry, we'll learn how to do it. What is AutoScaling group practically? You can also specify the minimum number of instances and maximum number of instances. You can determine the lower limit and upper limit. Minimum number of instances for my server should be 3. Maximum should be 10. It should not be more than 10. Even though traffic is doubling, tripling, you can define a maximum limit. If you want, you can determine the maximum limit. Especially clients will allocate the budget and they make sure that the bill should be within the budget. So you can define a maximum limit so that the budget will not be expensive. So in this feature, you can define the lower limit and upper limit, and according to the traffic, the number of EC2 machines will be ranging within the lower limit and upper limit. And Amazon auto-scaling concept ensures that the group will not go above the size, at the same time below the size. So this is about the concept of auto-scaling. Very simple. Very simple to understand. Okay, very simple to understand. Let's start practicals. Let us start the practicals of auto-scaling. Point number one, try to understand. Point number one, do you need a load balancer? Tell me, do you need a load balancer? Yes, you are right. We need a load balancer. Because when the traffic increases, auto-scaling concept, what it will do? When the traffic increases, what auto-scaling will do? Auto-scaling will create a new EC2 machine. And that new EC2 machine should be attached to what? Should be attached to the load balancer. Finally, everything should be attached to load balancer. Do we need a load balancer? Yes, we need load balancer. No doubt on that. Fine. Next. Create launch configuration. Create a launch configuration. Create launch configuration. What is launch configuration? What is launch configuration? Friends, when the traffic increases, we need a new EC2 machine. Agree? When the traffic increases, we need a new EC2 machine. Fine, no doubt. But the point is, what operating system that new EC2 machine should have? New EC2 machine should be created automatically. Finally, okay, fine. But what operating system that EC2 machine should have? What should be the RAM of that new machine? What should be the hard disk drive of the new machine? What is the CPU of that new machine? You need to provide the details. You need to provide the hardware configuration. What should be the hardware configuration of the new machine? What operating system should be loaded to that particular new machine? When a new machine gets created, you want to run any scripts? Should you bootstrap scripts? You want to run it or not? Do you want to run any new? Is that new machine an empty Linux machine, or you want any software to be installed in that new machine? That we mentioned in the bootstrap script. What port number should be open to that particular new machine? All this where you should mention it. We need to open a HTTP port and SSH port for this new machine, isn't it? All this information, you need to provide it. You need to hard code it. According to the information which you provide, the new EC2 machine will be created automatically. Where should we provide? In the launch configuration. We need to provide it in the launch configuration. According to the details you mentioned in the launch configuration, the new EC2 machine will have the same operating system what you have mentioned, the same RAM what you have mentioned, the scripts gets executed, and what port needs to be opened. All this we should mention it in the launch configuration. So do you think launch configuration is important? It is mandatory. Without launch configuration, what instance should be created, but what operating system should be there in the new instance? All these are very important. That we need to provide it in the launch configuration. That is step 2. Got it? That is step 2. So you understood that we need a load balancer, no doubt. You understood the importance of launch configuration. According to the details which you have mentioned in the launch configuration, the new EC2 machine will be created. Auto-scaling group. In this auto-scaling group, we mentioned the minimum number of instances. Minimum number of instances should be 1. Maximum number of instances should be 4. So this information we provided in the auto-scaling group. I hope you are very clear. This information we provide it in the auto-scaling group. Fine. So you know the importance of auto-scaling group. Next, create a topic in SNS. What does that mean? What is topic? What is SNS? Stands for Simple Notification Service. Why should we create a topic in SNS? I'll explain. Look at this. You're working for a client. Once you get a job, you'll be managing the infrastructure for a particular client. It could be Netflix, it could be BBC, it could be Twitter. Okay, it could be the top 10 clients. If you have a lot of clients managing the infrastructure, so you'll be maintaining the infrastructure of the clients. As an AWS engineer, you will configure this launch auto-scaling concept. When the traffic increases, let's say Twitter is running on AWS. Twitter is running on AWS. Let's say traffic increases. As per the configurations and settings which you have done, a new EC2 machine gets created. No doubt on that. But as an AWS team, try to understand. As an AWS team, let's say your AWS team is a group of 10 resources. Your AWS team is a group of 10 resources. Once the traffic increases, new EC2 machine gets created automatically. No doubt on that. Very good, it got created. But the point is, we should know when the EC2 machine got created. You will not create it manually. It gets created automatically, but you should get some information, right? So and so number of machines are getting created. So and so machines are getting removed. You should get some notification. We should know the notification. We should get the information. Generally, we should get an email. We should get an email. Whenever a new machine gets added, we should get an email. We should get an information. Notification is nothing but information through an email. Not only you, your group of 10 people should get the information saying that at so and so late midnight at 2 o'clock, a new EC2 machine got created Got it? So thus for that receiving the notification, we should receive that notification. You should know as an AWS team that what's happening in the background, even though it's getting automatically, you should know it. How can you get the information saying that the machine gets created or machine is getting removed? You will get the information only when you create a topic. When you create a topic. What is topic? Topic is nothing but group of email addresses. To be more simplified. Topic is nothing but group of email addresses. Let's say your AWS team is having 10 people. Assuming your AWS team is a group of 10 resources, all the 10 resources should get an email. So what you'll do, try to understand. Okay, what you'll do, email address 1, okay, email 2, email 3, all this you will email 10. So all these 10 email addresses, you bind it in a, what you do? You bind it in a topic. What is topic? Topic is nothing but a group of email addresses. And then we attach the topic to the notification. That is step 4. How to use the topic? Once the topic is attached, whenever the new EC2 machine gets created, we will be linking the topic to that particular event. So all the topic is having 10 email addresses, all the 10 resources. The next day when you get into the office, you will get a notification, okay, so EC2 machine got created. So we have to receive notification, no doubt. And how can you receive a notification? Notification is nothing but email, an update. That is possible when you use a service called a simple notification service. I hope you understood the importance of step 4. Step 5. Create alarm in CloudWatch. What is CloudWatch? It's a new service again. It's a different service in AWS. AWS, as day one we have learned, AWS is a collection of services. There are more than 200 to 250 services. Am I right? CloudWatch is an example of a service. In CloudWatch, what we do, we create an alarm. You may have a question, Sunil, why do we need to create an alarm? Why do we need to create an alarm? Try to understand. Try to listen. When the traffic increases, what should happen as per the concept? When the traffic increases, what should happen? Sunil, you already said we know that a new EC2 mission should create it. Very good. The point is, when the new EC2 mission should be created. My point is, when the new EC2 mission should be created. You may have an answer, Sunil, we already know that when the traffic increases. Fine, but how do you measure the traffic? You said the traffic increases, but how do you measure the traffic? How do you measure the traffic? There should be some condition, right? There should be one condition. How do you track the traffic? Okay, that measuring the traffic is possible by using a metric called as that measuring the traffic can be done by using a metric. Metric is how to measure it by using a metric called CPU utilization. By using a metric called as CPU utilization. By using a metric called as CPU utilization. I'll explain you. Look at this. Assume there are only two EC2 missions. Assume there are only 2 EC2 missions. When the third mission should be created, try to understand when the third mission should be created. So the third mission should be created when the traffic increases. But my point is, how do you measure? Right? Look at this. When the traffic increases, the existing EC2 missions will become busy. Agree or not? When the traffic increases, the load will be distributed to existing EC2 missions. The existing EC2 missions will become busy. It will be busy. That means it will be running very fast. It will be accepting the traffic and responding to the traffic. So what happens? The CPU utilization percentage gets increased. Every mission you can monitor the CPU utilization. Do you know that? My laptop, I can monitor the CPU utilization. How much percentage of CPU is getting used? How much percentage of RAM is getting used? You can monitor the hardware configuration. I think you can do that in the task manager in my laptop. CPU, can you see? In my laptop, 40% of the CPU is getting used. Total. So it's ranging between 70, 66. So when the traffic increases, the hardware configuration, it uses more CPU because it should respond to the request. It should do some calculations and give some content. The CPU becomes busy. So when should the new EC2 mission gets created? When the CPU utilization is when the average CPU utilization is more than 80%. That is it is almost becoming busy. Try to understand how much percent? When the average CPU utilization of the existing missions is both are average more than 80%, that means it's almost becoming busy. At that point of time, I want to add a new EC2 mission. Where do you write the condition? Where do you write the condition? For that you need to create an alarm. This condition you need to write it in an alarm. When the condition met, that means when the CPU utilization reaches 80% or more than that, then the alarm triggers. And then we add an action. Action is nothing but we add EC2 machine. In the same way, when the EC2 machine should be removed? Tell me. When the EC2 machine should be removed? When the CPU utilization, average CPU utilization of the existing EC2 machines is less than 20%. Then what action you want to do? You want to remove the instances. So this is the condition. Where do you write the condition? We need to write the conditions in alarm. We need to create alarms. How many alarms we need to create? We need to create one alarm for increasing the number of EC2 machines, and we need to create an alarm to decrease the number of EC2 machines. 2 alarms we need to create. And should we create alarms? We should create alarms in a service called as CloudWatch. Alarm is nothing but writing a condition. See, I will wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning. How do I do it? I define my alarm. I write a condition in my mobile. I set the date and time. In the same way, I am setting the CPU utilization. When it meets, the alarm gets triggered. When the alarm gets triggered, we define an action. Defining the action is all about policy. Defining the action. What you want to action? What action you want to do? You want to add. What you want to add? You want to add one EC2 machine, and that where should be mentioned in the policies. So we'll be creating 2 policies, one policy for increasing the EC2 machines, one policy for decreasing the EC2 machines. One policy for increasing the EC2 machines, one policy for decreasing the EC2 machines. According to the policies, the new EC2 machines will be created or new EC2 machines will be removed. All these are the steps which are required. In the interview, they'll ask you what are the steps you need to follow to configure the auto-scaling feature. These are the steps you should explain. We need to have a load balancer, no doubt, because the new EC2 machine should be attached to load balancer. When the new EC2 machine gets created, what should be the RAM of the new EC2 machine? What should be the hard disk of the new EC2 machine? What port needs to be opened? Is it an empty server or we need to install a web package? All this we should mention it in which file? Launch configuration. After launch configuration file, auto-scaling group. Auto-scaling group, we mention the lower limit and upper limit so that the auto-scaling will not go beyond the range. Next, we need to create a topic because we should get information. Topic is nothing but group of email addresses, assuming an AWS team of 10 people, all the 10 people we group it and include it and make it as a topic, and then we link the event to the topic and we learn how can we see that. We'll see it soon. So that we can receive an emails whenever the EC2 machine gets created or whenever the EC2 machine gets removed. That's the importance of topic. Alarm. You need to define the condition. How do you measure it? We do it by using the alarm, by using a metric called as CPU utilization. I hope it is very clear. In the policy, you will mention what you want to do. You want to add the machine. Do you want to add 2 machines at once? Need not be 1 machine. You can add 2 machines at once. Whenever the CPU utilization is more than 80%, at a time you can add 2 more machines. At a time you can add 10 more machines. How many machines you want to add? At the same time, how many machines you want to remove? That you should define in the policies. Once all this is done, then the auto-scaling will start getting into action. Theory is very, very important. Clear about this? As we have understood the basic components which are required for defining the auto-scaling concept, let's jump into practicals. Let us jump into practicals. What is the first thing what you need to do? You need to create a load. Look at the first step. Create load balancer. Let's jump into action. Let's log in. services, EC2. Instances. Okay. So don't worry about the existing instances. This is nowhere related to our example. Do not worry about the existing instances. Remember, you are in Mumbai location. Fine. First step, what you need to do, you need to create a load balancer. We already have learned how to create a load balancer. We already have learned how to create a load balancer. I'll not explain again. I immediately create a load balancer. Just 2 minutes is enough for us to create a load balancer. How to create a load balancer. So go to load balancer. Where is the load balancer option in the EC2 dashboard? Can you see we have an option called load balancers? You do not have any load balancers in this region. Okay, go ahead and create a load balancer. What load balancer? We go with classic load balancer. What's the name of the load balancer? Load balancer name can be anything. Let's say sample load balancer 10. This is the name of the load balancer because today is 10. So I'm naming it as sample load balancer 10. Next. Create a new security group. Let's name it as sample SG10. I think this group is already there. What port needs to be opened? I want to open SSH port. Add rule. I also want to open HTTP port. Next. Configure health check. These details we already know it. Response timeout 2. Interval period every 5 seconds. I want to monitor the health. Healthy threshold 2, unhealthy threshold 2. We already know all these values. Why should we provide all these values? Next, add EC2 machines. Is there any EC2 machines? No, we don't have any EC2 machines. Directly we are creating load balancer without the EC2 machines. So I'm not adding any EC2 machines. Next, review and create. Create. Successfully created load balancer. Close. I'm done with creating a load balancer. As of now, how many machines are attached to the load balancer? No, it's an empty load balancer. There are no EC2 machines attached to the load balancer. Fine. I'm done with step 1. Nothing difficult. Very simple. I'm done with creating load balancer. Next, what you have to do? You need to create launch configuration. You need to create a launch configuration. What is launch configuration? You need to define the EC2 machine configuration. What operating system that EC2 machine should have, what RAM should have, what hard disk you should have, what port needs to be opened. All this we should mention in the launch configuration. My EC2 machines should have Amazon Linux AMI operating system. My EC2 machine should have Amazon Linux operating system. Okay, so that you should mention it in the launch configuration part. So how to create, so load balancing is done. Step 2, launch configuration. Under auto scaling, can you see we have launch configurations? Right now there are no launch configurations. I'm creating a launch configuration. Create launch configuration. What is the name of the launch configuration? Let's name it as sample launch configuration 10. Sample LCG launch configuration 10. That's the name of the launch configuration. What AMI? You cannot see happily like Amazon Linux or Red Hat Linux, UC Linux. You cannot see it, isn't it? So you need to take a note of the AMI. Every AMI is in other words simplified words. It's an operating system. Every AMI should have a unique name. You will have a unique number. I'll show you. Look at this. Look at this. When you launch instance, you want Amazon Linux. This one I want. Every AMI will have a unique number. This is the unique number AMI 08E0C899 ending with BEBA. You want this AMI. That means you want this operating system. That I already have taken a note of it. See, take a note of the AMI unique number. It is also referred as AMI ID. So I have taken a note of it. That's now. So as I have taken a note of it, I want my launch configuration file. I mentioned this particular operating system. I should have it. The moment I select this operating system, done. That new EC2 machine should be of what type of instance? We know it should be what instance? T2 micro. That new EC2 machine should have one CPU and one memory. Okay, I have selected. Next. Under advanced details, under user data, I need to run some commands because we don't want empty Linux. It should be a web server. So these are the commands which will make that machine as a web server. You already know that these commands gets executed automatically when the new EC2 machine gets created. That I have mentioned in the bootstrap scripts. These scripts are called as bootstrap scripts. Scroll down. Security group. I want to create a new security group. What? So that EC2 machine should have what ports open? That we should mention the security group. Isn't it? Sample SG10 is the name of the security group. Oh, we already have created security group, right? At the time of creating the load balancer. Isn't it? Sample SG10. So I use an existing security group happily. I use an existing security. Sample SG10. I'm using an existing security group. Fine. Key pair. I want to create a new key pair. In case, why do you need a key pair? In case if you want to connect to individual machines, you need a key pair, right? So, sample KP10 is the name of the key pair which I want. I download the key pair. Desktop Sunil folder, wherever you want, you can download the key pair. Key pair downloaded. Click on Create Launch Configuration. Launch configuration is created. What is the name of the launch configuration? Sample LCG10 is the name of the configuration. This configuration will have information about what operating system the EC2 machine should have, what type of EC2 machine, what port needs to be opened, how many volumes. It's a volume of 8 GB, so everything will have it. So we are done with step 2 also. We are done with creating launch configuration. So where are we standing? We are done with creating load balancer. We are done with creating launch configuration. Step 3, create an auto-scaling group. What is auto-scaling? Quick recap, we'll mention the minimum number of instances, maximum number of instances. All this is possible, and defining the increase policy, decrease policies, everything should be as part of auto-scaling group. You need to create an auto-scaling group. Create an auto-scaling group. We create auto-scaling based on the launch configuration. What is the name of the auto-scaling group? The name of the auto-scaling is sample ASG10 is the name of the auto-scaling group which I want to create. That's the name of the auto-scaling group. And remember, we need to create auto-scaling based on the launch configuration file. We already have created launch configuration just now, isn't it? This is the name of the launch configuration which you created. Select the launch configuration and then go to actions, create auto-scaling group. So we are creating auto-scaling group based on the launch configuration. That means auto-scaling launch configuration are already connected with this step. Select the launch configuration. From the launch configuration, I'm creating an auto-scaling group. What's the name of the auto-scaling group? Auto-scaling group name. Scroll down. Based on the launch configuration, yes, already you'll get the sample, your launch configuration file. Fine. Next. My God. Before that. Okay. Fine. Next. Configuration settings. Where do you want to create the new EC2 machine? Where do you want to create the new EC2 machines? Obviously, I want the creating new EC2 machine in Mumbai region. Configuration settings is all about in which region you want to create an auto-scaling. This new EC2 machines, obviously I will do it in Mumbai region, but Mumbai region is divided to 3 parts. Mumbai data center. Mumbai data center is again divided to 3 divisions. That is called as subnets. This is the first time I'm explaining you about the term called subnet. One data center can be divided into partitions. So Mumbai data center is divided into 3 partitions. These partitions are called as subnets. Can you see here? You can see 3 subnets here. AP South 1A, 1B, 1C. Where do you want to create the party? Where do you want to EC2 machines to be created? In which partition? So select the partition 1. Any partition does not make any difference. That's about subnet. Next. The new EC2 machine should be attached to load balancer, right? That the new EC2 machine should be attached to what? Should be attached to load balancer. So you mentioned attached to an existing load balancer. From the our load balancer is a classic load balancer. Choose from classic and you will see your load balancer name sample LB10. This is the name of the load balancer. Okay. Next, these are all optional. Next, configure the group size, desired capacity, minimum capacity, maximum capacity. I said we should mention the lower limits and upper limits. Desired capacity is nothing but when you start this concept, when you start the auto scaling configuration, desired capacity is nothing but to start with how many servers you want. I want to start with 4 servers. And then when the traffic increases, minimum, do you want to maintain any servers? Okay, I want a minimum 2 servers. So minimum capacity, you mention it as 2. When the traffic increases, do you want to define a limit? Yes, a maximum. I should, even though the traffic is increasing, it should not go beyond 10 servers. That's the maximum capacity. Desired capacity, I want to start with 1 server, minimum capacity 1 server, maximum capacity I mentioned as 5 servers. So you can mention the lower limit and upper limit. Scroll down. Next. Add notifications. We'll discuss that later. Notifications, we'll see that in the next step. Next. Tags, we'll discuss later. Next. We'll review the details. And then create an auto scaling group. The auto scaling group gets created. Desired capacity 1, minimum 1. So as we have mentioned, created minimum number of machines should be 1. By this time, an EC2 machine will be created in the background. As we have mentioned, the desired capacity as 1. By default, this auto scaling makes sure that the minimum number of maintained machines will be created. So automatically, one EC2 machine will be created by this time. So as the desired capacity is 1, by this time an EC2 machine should have been created. Can we verify that? Yes. Go to instances. What's happening? Please observe here. One new EC2 machine got created in running state. Did I manually create the EC2 machine? Tell me, friends. Did I manually create the EC2 machine? No. In the auto scaling group, I have clearly mentioned that the desired capacity is 1 and minimum capacity is 1. So that is the reason one EC2 machine got created. And this EC2 machine will be automatically attached to the load balancer because we have provided the load balancer name. As we have provided the load balancer name, that EC2 machine will be automatically attached to the Load balancer can be verified. Is this easy to let's name it. Let's name it as machine 1. Now this machine 1 will be automatically attached to the load balancer. Can we verify that? No doubt you can verify it. Go to load balancer. This is the load balancer which you have created. Go to instances and you can clearly see this particular instance is attached to the load balancer. Yes. No doubt on that. Can we test whether the load balancer is working fine or not? No doubt. Take the DNS name of the load balancer and test whether the load balancer is perfectly working or not. What the load balancer should do, load balancer should take the request and send it to the targets. How many machines we are having? As of now, only one machine. So automatically load balancer will distribute the traffic to that particular machine and we should get a page from that machine. Are you getting the page? My Google 2. Perfect. So load balancer we already have verified it's working fine. So where are we standing now? So we are done with creating a load balancer. To start with, we have created launch configuration. We have also created auto-scaling group. What you mentioned in the auto-scaling group? In the auto-scaling group, you mentioned the minimum number of machines and the maximum number of machines. That machine should be attached to which load balancer. All this we have mentioned it in the auto-scaling group. Next. When the new machine gets created, we should get an information, we should get an email, we should get a notification. That notification is nothing but is an email. How is it possible? By creating a topic. What is topic? I already have mentioned it. Topic is nothing but a group of email addresses. You create it as a topic. So first let's create the topic. First let's create the topic. Where should we create the topic? Sunil, where should we create the topic? We should create a topic in a service called as SNS. We are now moving to new service. You are now experiencing one more service of AWS that's called as SNS, Simple Notification Service. Right from day one, we are sticking to only one service called EC2. This is the first time we are experiencing one more service called as SNS, Simple Notification Service. Create a topic in SNS. Where is the simple notification service? Under services, there is an option called application integration. Under application integration, you will have a service called a simple notification service. Services. Can you see application integration? Under application integration, we have a simple SNS, simple notification service. What you need to do here, you need to create a topic. So go to topics. Are there any topics as of now? There are no topics here. Create a topic. There are two types of topics, fee for topic and standard topic. Go with standard topic. For email notifications, we go for standard topics. What's the name of the topic? Topic name can be anything. Topic name can be anything. My topic 1, it can be any name. Display name is also the same, no problem at all. What is topic? Topic is combination of, what is topic? Topic is nothing but group of email addresses. Okay, so provide the topic name, create topic. That's it. Topic is simple. You may have a question. Sunil, you said topic is group of email addresses. Where should we mention the email addresses? Yes, first the topic is created, right? What's the name of the topic? My topic 1. Scroll down. Once the topic is ready, can you see we have subscriptions? Right now, this is having 0 subscriptions. That's a little bit no email. It's an empty topic. Now, what you have to do, you have to add email addresses to the topic. Like in the WhatsApp group, we create a group and we add contact numbers to the WhatsApp group. In the same way, I have created a topic. Now I'll add email addresses. Adding email addresses is nothing but creating subscription. Protocol. How do you want the information? I want the information to be passed on using email. Type should be, protocol should be email. Endpoint is nothing but email addresses. I'm adding email addresses. You can have multiple email addresses separated with comma. can add multiple email addresses separating with commas. As of now, I'm adding only one email address. So our topic can be group of email addresses, or it can be one email address. So I'm adding one email address. So you can, if you want, you can have multiple email addresses separated with comma. Create subscription. Done. Subscription is already created. Got it? Done. So I'm done with creating a topic. What's the name of the topic? My topic 1. What is the name of the topic? My topic 1. Let's make a note of it. The topic name is, because we'll be using the topic in future. What is the name of the topic? My topic. That's the name of the topic. This topic is having how many email addresses? Scroll down. Email address and nothing but subscriptions. Only one email address. Sunil DevOps. Status is pending confirmation. I should confirm. I should log into these email addresses and I should confirm, okay, I'm ready to receive notifications from AWS. I should confirm it. So let's confirm it. Let's log into my email. This is the email address, Sunil DevOps 77. That is what confirmation is Sunil DevOps 77 at gmail.com. My topic 1, subscription confirmation. It's something like, are you sure? Are you sure you want to receive it? I say I want to receive the confirmations. So I confirm the subscription. The subscription has been successfully confirmed. As I have confirmed the subscription, now if you click on refresh here in the topic, now when you click on refresh, previously it was pending confirmation. As I have now confirmed, I should get the, when you click on refresh, status will change. It is confirmed. Fine. So I'm done with creating topic. So you know how to create a topic and how to add subscriptions to the topic. I think I have clearly mentioned it. So topic is ready. Create a topic. Next, you need to create an alarm. How many alarms we need to create? 2 alarms. When the CPU utilization is more than 80%, I want one alarm to be created. That is alarm 1. And when the CPU utilization is less than 30% or less than 20%, then I need to create second alarm. We'll be creating 2 alarms. Where should we create an alarm? We should create an alarm in a service called as CloudWatch. Step 5, create alarm in CloudWatch. What is CloudWatch? CloudWatch is the name of the service. Okay. Go to services, under management and governance. Under management and governance, there is a service called as CloudWatch. Sunil, you may have questions. Sunil, what should we do in this CloudWatch service? You need to create an alarm. Can you see we have alarms? As of now, there are 0 alarms. The count is 0. How many alarms we need to create? 2 alarms. Remember, not 1 alarm. You should define 2 conditions, right? 1 condition for adding the EC2 missions, 1 condition for removing the EC2 missions. First alarm I create for adding EC2 missions. Second alarm I create for removing the EC2 missions. Are you able to understand? So we need to create alarms. Create alarm. Create alarm. Select metric. Metric is nothing but how do you measure. Select EC2. Metric based on auto-scaling group. What's the name of the auto-scaling group which you have created? What is the name of the auto-scaling group which you have created? You need to select that auto-scaling group. What's the name of the auto-scaling group? Sample ASG10. sample ASG10. This is the name of the auto-scaling group. Scroll down. Can you see name of the metric? CPU utilization. CPU utilization of this group sample ASG10 is nothing but group of EC2 machines. I have selected the metric CPU utilization of our group. Select metric. Metric name CPU utilization of this auto-scaling group. Static greater than, here you should mention the percentage, you should mention it as 80. When the average CPU utilization of all the machines present in this auto-scaling group is more than 80%, Next. Send notification to. Send notification to. When it is more than 80%, we should get information. I should get information to my email address. What is my email address? SunilDevOps77 is my email address. That email address I have linked it to a topic. What's the name of the topic? My topic 1. Here you'll get the topic which you have created. My topic 1. I'm adding that to the topic. The topic is having how many subscriptions? Do you remember? The topic is having only 1 email addresses. So I'm linking that to, so that when the average CPU utilization is more than 80%, now you get the information to this email. So I will attach the topic. So remember, whenever you come across a term called notification, remember you need to add the topic, and the topic will have group of email addresses. As of now, the topic is my topic 1. Next, name of the alarm. Okay, so this is the first alarm, right? My alarm 1 is the name of the alarm. Okay, next. So when this new my alarm 1 triggers, when it is created, when the condition is it's more than CPU utilization is more than 80%. Okay, so done with creating an alarm. I'm done with creating my first alarm. Similarly, you need to create one more alarm when the CPU utilization is less than 20%. For that condition, you need to create one more alarm. Okay. Select metric as usual based on the service. EC2, select auto scaling, mention the name of our auto scaling, sample ASG10. Metric name is CPU utilization. Select. Less than or equal to 30%. So that's nothing but a percentage by default. Next. Notification. I should receive an email. I will link to my topic. Next. Name of the second alarm. First alarm is my alarm 1. Second alarm is my alarm 2. First alarm for more than 80%. Second, more than 8% of CPU utilization. Second alarm for less than 30% of CPU utilization. Next. Create. How many alarms I have created? 2 alarms I have created. First alarm when the CPU utilization is more than 80. Second alarm for less than or equal to 30. I am done with creating an alarm. I am done with creating. Where are we now? I am done with creating a topic. I am done with creating an alarm. Then you need to add policies. What action you want to do it? You want to add the EC2 machines. You should mention that. Alarm is all about defining the conditions. If it is more than 80%, if it is less than 10%. What action you want to do it when the alarm triggers? That you should mention it in adding policies. You need to add policies to the auto scaling. You need to add policies to the auto scaling. Add policies to the auto scaling. Go to the auto scaling group. Where is auto scaling group? Where is auto scaling group? Now you are in CloudWatch service. You should go back to your EC2 service. Auto scaling group. We already have created one auto scaling group. Name of the auto scaling group, sample ASG10. Select the auto scaling group. Can you see there's an option called automatic scaling tab? Go to automatic scaling tab. As of now, are there any scaling policies? Do you have any scaling policies? There are no scaling policies. You need to add policies. One policy for increasing the EC2 machine, one policy for decreasing the EC2 machine. Every auto scaling group should have policies, friend. It's very important. In the policy only, you need to define the action. Till now, you have not defined any action. You have defined alarm. That's it. Alarm will not create new EC2 machines. Alarm triggers. Alarm will be a triggering point. I define alarm to wake up at 5 o'clock. The alarm rings. Once the it rings, I will wake up. That's my action. So that action, you need to define it in the scaling policies. I'll add policy. Policy type, select as simple scaling. Policy name. Policy name can be anything. Policy name can be anything. To be meaningful, I can write it as my policy 1, no doubt. You can have any name, but let's have a meaningful name. INCR policy, that is increase policy. Any name, you can write any name, increase policy. Now I need to link the alarm to this policy. When this policy should happen, you need to link that alarm. You have created an alarm, right? When the how many alarms you have created? Quick recap. How many alarms we have created? My alarm 1 and second alarm. First alarm for more than 80%, second alarm for less than 30%. I'm selecting the first alarm. That's the condition. My alarm 1. It shows, look at this. When the CPU utilization is 8%, then take an action. I want to add how many capacity units. Capacity units in the, but how many EC2 machines I want to add. One machine. So that's policy. Policy name can anything. Let's have a meaningful policy. Increase policy. That helps you to understand that, okay, increase policy will add the EC2 machines. One policy we have created, increase policy. Similarly, what you have to do? Tell me. Similarly, what you have to do? You need to create one more policy for decrease policy. One more policy for decreasing the EC2 machines. Add policy. Select as simple scaling. Policy name. Decrease policy. Don't think that it's a keyword. No, it's any name. You can write it as my policy too. This policy will attach it to which alarm? For decreasing policy, I will select second alarm, because select the second alarm, I have created a condition less than 30%. And what you want to do when the CPU utilization is less than 30%, I don't want to add. I want to remove. How many I want to remove? I want to remove one EC2 machine. Create. Successfully created. Second policy. How many policies our auto scaling group? Our auto scaling group is sample ASG10. Our auto scaling group is having two policies. One policy for increasing the EC2 machines when the EC2 machine gets increases when the CPU utilization is more than 80%, and the decrease policy will help you to remove the EC2 machines when it is less than, when the CPU utilization is less than 30%. So here we define alarms. So that's the reason before adding policies, you need to create alarms and keep it ready. That's the reason. That's the reason before policies only, you need to get the alarms ready, and then you need to keep the topics ready, so that you can happily go ahead and create an alarm. At the time you can use alarms in the policies. This is the steps you need to follow. This is the steps you need to follow for performing auto scaling. That's it. Difficult? It's not at all difficult. Now tell me what happens now. Now tell me when the EC2 machine gets created. As of now, how many EC2 machines we are having? Only one EC2 machine. Go to EC2 machine dashboard. How many EC2 machines we are having? As of now, we are having only one EC2 machine. Now tell me when the second machine gets created. Tell me when the second. As of now, we are having one machine, right? So tell me when the second machine gets created. Second mission gets created when the traffic increases, when load balancers receives more number of traffic. Can we see practically? How can we see practically? We should increase the traffic, right? How can we increase the traffic? We cannot increase the traffic. It should be dynamic, isn't it? So you cannot, I cannot show you practically, but it works. In case if the traffic increases, when there are more than 2,000 to 3,000 people receiving the request, then when the CPU utilization will increase more than 80%, at that time, your auto scaling helps you to create a new EC2 machine. I cannot show this practically because we cannot increase the traffic of our load balancer, but this is how it happens. These are the steps you need to follow. These are the steps we need to follow to configure the auto scaling groups, to experience the auto scaling, to work out with auto scaling for our client. So total how many steps? 6-step process. A 6-step process. Clear? Clear about this? So let's have a questionnaire round. Obviously, I cannot answer all the questions. Let's randomly pick up few of the participants. Yes, Shankar Kurakula. Good morning, Shankar. How are you doing? You can unmute.
Yeah, Sunil, good morning.
How are you?
Yeah, I'm fine.
Is this clear, whatever we have learned?
Yeah, clear.
Tell me your question.
Yeah, before my question, I have small request. Due to some health issues, I missed last 2 days session. So could you please send these 2 sessions if possible?
Any questions on the topic? Any questions in this exam?
No questions as of now.
No questions.
Yeah.
Okay. Recordings are not sent, Shankar. You need to pay 999 to get the recordings. Okay. Thank you.
Okay.
Ankit Srivastava. Good morning, Ankit. How are you doing?
Good morning, sir. How are you?
Example?
Yeah, it's fine.
Thank you.
Sir, I want to thank you regarding this because I tried to learn from YouTube also, but this was a concept that made me clear in a very nice manner.
Thank you very much.
Okay, sir, I have a question from yesterday's topic. Actually, in our scenarios,
yesterday what did we discuss? We discussed about scale up and scale down.
Yeah, scale up, scale down also, and one more
AMIs and then snapshots.
Yes. Actually, sir, in our scenario, what is happening there in my company, and there is one more company that is being merged with us. Okay.
You're already working on AWS platform.
Yeah, sir, we are into transitions right now. So I'm a good
So soon you will be into AWS as an AWS infrastructure. You'll be working as an AWS engineer.
Okay. Yes. Okay. Because I was working with a team, so I was working with the L1 level over there because I was not having that much knowledge. I was trying to learn. So they were sharing it. Yeah, sir. So they were saying something that they have a company is getting merged with our company. Okay. So they are saying that they are already having volumes and a number of things. So why they need to pay for the two? So is it possible to cut that volume from
Obviously,
company
they want
B
all their infrastructures to be moved into one account.
Yes. So is it possible, sir?
Yes, it is possible by using data migration services. AWS maintains a different services called as a data migration services, wherein which you can move your infrastructure from one account to other account, Ankit. Okay, that's point number one. Okay. Number two, from on-premises, if the client is using on-premises, they have all their data centers and they don't want their data centers on on-premises. They want to remove the data centers and their servers, they want to move it into AWS cloud. That's called as migration services. Okay, Ankit, you need to learn migration services, which helps you to migrate your infrastructure from an AWS account to other AWS or on-premises to AWS. Okay, Ankit?
Okay, and sir, one more scenario. If suppose they are using Oracle Cloud and they want to migrate it from Oracle Cloud, they want to cut that drive and attach to AWS.
That also comes into migration.
That also comes into
moving from one cloud to another. Okay.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Ankit. Thank you very much. Suresh K. Good morning, Suresh. How are you doing?
Good morning, Sunil. First of all, thank you so much for this session.
Thank you, Suresh. Thank you very much. Are you regular to the sessions or you are
Yes.
on and off?
No, I am regular from the day one.
Okay, very good. So you know AWS or is the first time?
No, Sunil. In fact, I wanted to do some certification, so I was looking for. At the same time, I found this one.
Okay.
The day one I'm on.
May I know your current platform?
Sorry. In fact, I'm working as a senior manager, so I'm looking for to understand AWS fully.
Okay.
I want to do. So
I hope this training helps you give more exposure towards how exactly AWS.
Exactly, you're right.
How exactly clients maintain their infrastructures on AWS, and what are the advantages a client gets when they have their infrastructure on AWS. We are still in the beginning. You will learn many more features of AWS.
Exactly, because I'll be contributing to the design discussions and all that. So I thought I should.
Having this knowledge helps you to build confidence when you're speaking to the infrastructure team or networking team or operations team. Okay.
You're right, Sunil. And this is definitely very handy and appreciate. I have one question in today's session.
Yes, please.
Okay, when the traffic is increased and we enabled auto scaling and it is increasing the instances, CPU and everything. Okay, let's assume now the traffic is reduced. So we are going back again to the normal.
Yes, we are decreasing that. As we have mentioned, when the traffic decreases, we have defined an action. Isn't it? In the second policy, we have learned how to remove the instances, isn't it? Okay. Not only adding the instances, in the second policy, what did we mention? We have mentioned that I want to remove the instances also, isn't it?
Got it. Okay.
So we have two policies, increase policy and decrease policy. In the decrease policy, we have removed the instance. So when the traffic
increases, when the burst traffic increases, we have to scale it definitely. And
when the traffic decreases also, we need to scale down.
Okay.
So increase policy helps you to scale up and decrease policy helps you to scale down. Okay?
Sure, Suresh. Yeah. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Suresh. Thank you very much. Karthik J. Good morning, Karthik. How are you doing?
Yeah, good morning, Sunil. How are you?
I'm good. Fine. Yes, tell me your doubt.
Yeah, my doubt is in alarms. How many alarms we can define? Like
no
server goes. Yeah, sometimes.
As of now, to implement this policy, we need to have two alarms. We need two conditions. Agree? One condition for increasing the number of EC2 machines. One condition for decreasing the number of EC2 machines. So, as our case, we need two alarms. Okay.
So
we don't need more than that. But there's no restriction as such. You can create any number of alarms, but it does not. We don't need that.
Okay. Alarm is like a monitoring tool for the servers, right?
Exactly. It will monitor. What is the metric you have mentioned in the alarm? Karthik, what is the metric? Metric is nothing but measuring. So you have selected a metric called CPU utilization.
CPU, yes.
So it will monitor that. As you said, it will monitor the CPU utilization. And you also define the condition 80%. Is it? When that condition met, that auto scaling policy gets triggered and then the new EC2 machine gets added. Okay, Karthik?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
And in our infrastructure, if we created 10 servers like for a load balancer, if traffic increases, one more instance will create, right, automatically.
Yes, that's
if the traffic decreases in our infrastructure, few servers will go, right? I mean,
removed.
Yeah. We already created 10 for our fixed servers. If the traffic is low, even that in 10 servers, the load balancer.
It depends upon what is the minimum number of instances you have maintained. Do you remember in the auto scaling group, we have provided minimum number, desired number, minimum number, maximum number. Karthik, do you remember in the auto scaling group?
Yes.
Look at this. Auto scale, okay. Desired capacity, minimum number, maximum capacity. Okay. You can start desired capacity 4. Desired capacity 4 is nothing but once the auto scaling setup is done, it starts with 4. When the traffic decreases, you should mention the minimum capacity. So those are the minimum number of number of instances you should be running, even though there are zero traffic also, minimum number of instances should be running. Okay, Karthik? Clear,
Yes,
Karthik?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Venkat Venkat M. Muddada. Good morning, Venkat. How are you doing?
Hi, Sunil. Yeah, I'm good. My question is in some scenarios, I see even the traffic get increases, we never see in the CPU spikes. Okay, that's one question. And we defined here the maximum limit of the
Limit.
CPU. So if it hits some threshold, then you want to add a new machine.
Yes.
So what if it is just a spike? I hit more than 75%, and again it instantly come back and fluctuate between minimum and maximum. In such cases, what should, is there a way
That's
we
the
can
reason. That's
find?
the reason there will be a specific time limit. Okay, so if you look at the condition which you have mentioned in the CloudWatch alarm, okay.
Okay.
Look at this 1 minute, please. Where is CloudWatch? When the average CPU utilization is more than 80% for a continuous period of 5 minutes. Okay, it's not specific to at particular minute or something like that. Venkatesh. So when you're creating an alarm, you need to define. Generally, it will be for a consecutive period of 5 minutes or something like that. You will get that when you're creating an alarm. Okay. Let's say I'm selecting a random metric.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Got it.
1 minute. I'll show you practically. Select a metric, and for a period of, okay, let's say for a period of 5 minutes continuous, the CPU utilization should be more than 80%, not for a fraction of a minute or something like that. So you can define the period accordingly. When it is consecutively for the period of 5 minutes, okay, this looks to be a constant traffic, then you need to do an action. If the traffic immediately increases 80% for a minute and then it removes, then action will not happen. So that's the period you need to define it according to your business requirements. Okay, Venkatesh?
Yeah.
Got it? Yes, thank you. Vandana Chaturvedi, good morning.
Yeah, hey, so my question is from yesterday's session, that when you deleted that root volume from EC2 instance, so is it possible to attach again another root volume to the same EC2 instance?
You can do that. If you have multiple root volumes, you can add one more root volume. But in fact, did I remove the root volume last session?
I don't think so, but I
have removed the elastic block storage. I have detached it. I have converted it to snapshot, and then I have moved the snapshot. So root volume I have not detached. Generally, we will not detach the root volume because root volume is the volume where we have an operating system, isn't it? So you can detach it. There's no problem at all. But generally, we will not do that. Okay.
So it's not recommended kind of thing.
Yes. It's not recommended. You're right. Okay, because it has an operating system inside it. So your data will be lost. Okay.
Sure. Thank you.
Any questions on this example AutoScaling?
It's pretty clear. Once I'll do hands-on, then
thank you.
We'll have more question. Thank you.
Hi Raghu P. Good morning.
Yeah, morning, Sunil.
How are you doing?
Yeah, doing great.
You're from which location?
I'm from Hyderabad location.
Okay.
Thank you. So I think session definitely, I think it is very low level details. It gives a good knowledge on the AWS.
Thank you.
I have a couple of questions. One is like now we are doing service configuration settings on the web, right? Does it support PowerShell script, Python to completely automate or templatize that easily?
Yes, you can do scripting, which helps you to run this and then automatically do it. We can do other things using scripting also. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. That's a different advanced course. Okay.
And the second is like we are now configuring so many settings in this EC2 or auto scaling or load balancer. These settings and the configuration will be given by the application team or like would be selected by the
No,
AWS
as an
infra team?
AWS team, you need to do that. Okay.
Okay. Okay. And the suggestions. Okay. And the suggestions are like best practices or must follows.
We need to get it from the business requirements, business users.
Okay. The completely AWS team to be defined that.
Yes. Yes.
And
okay.
when
we will also get the information or reports from the existing infrastructure. Okay, how exactly the application is behaving. Okay.
Okay. Probably from the probably from the existing physical servers we might to understand.
Physical servers, we should get the information, the behavior reports. Okay.
Okay.
And then according to that, we'll be configuring it on AWS cloud. Okay.
Perfect.
Thank you.
And last question I have. So we get actually the key pair values for every EC2, right? To again establish or like to connect those EC2 surveys, we use the PEM. Again, when in a developer tool development team they would use that PEM, is it?
Yes.
And authorization and authentication completely will be happen with this PEM.
Yes, everything is controlled in PEM. Okay. One more level of security happens by using IAM, Identity and Access Management. This is why you can have an increased layer of security.
Okay.
So we'll be seeing that soon.
Perfect. And if internally, if I have any authorization, for an example, I have ADs or like specific authorization. So how would it connect with?
It means you let's say you want a restriction such that let's say you have a group of 10 people in your AWS team, and you want a group of 2 people only to connect to that particular EC2 machine. The remaining 8 people should not connect, isn't it?
I mean to say from an internal company.
Internal, yes, that's what I'm doing. You can do that. You can handle it by using Identity and Access Management. We'll be discussing that soon.
Perfect. Thank you.
Clear, Raghu?
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay. So let's go ahead and understand the deletion policy also, deletion process also, which is very, very important. Once you create the infrastructure, please, after practicing, please follow this process. First, delete auto-scaling. Go to EC2 service. Auto-scaling groups. Delete auto-scaling first. This will take some time for the auto-scaling to get deleted. Less than a minute. Inside the auto-scaling group, we have defined the policies, so all the policies will be deleted. And the auto-scaling group will also be deleted. So you have understood about the notification service, simple notification service. The purpose of simple notification service is to receive notifications to an email. Okay. So that is about service called as SNS. And we have also expressed the CloudWatch service is helps you to define alarms. Fazil. Good morning, Fazil. How are you?
Hi, Sunil. I'm
Your
fine.
question,
What about
please.
you?
I'm doing well. Thank you. You're from which city?
I'm from Bangalore.
Okay. Fazil, your question, please.
Yeah. My question is regarding about the yesterday session.
Okay.
So yesterday we discussed about the EBS and then snapshot and then AMI, right?
Yes.
So that I checked here. So we have the one EC2 instance. We are attaching multiple EBS to one instance, right?
Attaching multiple elastic block storage.
Elastic block storage too.
By default, one storage will be there to the EC2 machine. That is a root storage.
Yeah, root storage.
And you are adding one more elastic, one more volume to that particular EC2 machine.
It's correct. Yeah, it's correct. But in case if we have one EBS, okay, we are not attaching one EBS to multiple EC2. We are not attaching, right?
No, don't say EBS, say it as volume.
Yeah, volume. Okay.
You have one volume. Now repeat
one
your
volume. Yeah. So here we are doing one EC2 instance. We are attaching
multiple volumes.
Multiple volumes.
You are right.
But here we are not attaching one EBS to multiple instances. We are not attaching, right? That's
No,
correct.
no. You're right. You're right.
Yeah.
One
Okay.
volume cannot be shared to multiple EC2 machines. Okay.
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 Good.
Okay. Thank you.
Yes. Thank you, Fazil. What about today's concept, Fazil? You're clear with auto-scaling and concept?
Yeah. It will be very clear. So I have to do hands-on experience. I will get some.
Okay.
Yeah. Sure. Thank you so much for the session. Yeah.
So auto-scaling is done. Let's go to next. Delete launch configuration. Where is launch configuration? In the same EC2, we have an option called launch configuration. This is the launch configuration what we have created. Delete launch configuration. When you delete launch configuration, automatically the instances will be terminated. So by this time, the termination starts. The new one instance which you have created. By this time, the termination will start. See, it's already terminated. Fine. Next, we need to delete load balancer. Delete. Delete topic. Where is topic available? Topic is available in different service called simple notification services. Under services, under recently visited, you will get simple notification service. Go to topics. Delete the topic. Delete alarm. Where is alarm? Alarm is in different service, CloudWatch. See, decrease alarm. It's in state is in alarm. That means the condition is met because EC2 machine is having less than 30%. This is already met. But still, I want to delete it. Delete. Not only that, you need to delete one more alarm, right? 2 alarms. Okay. That's it. So this is the deletion process. Very, very important. Very, very important. Okay. So thank you very much. Thank you very, very much for your time. In case training is free, as you know, in case if you want the recordings, please WhatsApp to 9. You have this number, I think so. I repeat it. 944. I may not respond. 94405 43429. This is the WhatsApp number. His name is Mr. Krishna. 94405 43429. So these recordings will be available for the lifetime. You can also download the recordings. So in case if you want the recordings, you are free to send the WhatsApp. I recommend him. Don't call him. I recommend him to communicate on WhatsApp, and then you can proceed with his instructions. Okay. I have sent the number in the chat box also. Couple of questions before ending. Good morning, Lokesh S. Can you hear me, Lokesh? You're out, please. COVID Bharadwaj, good morning. Can you hear me?
Hello.
How are you, Bharadwaj?
Yes, good morning. I'm fine.
Yes, your question, please.
Yeah, so basically my query is that I was using Azure earlier. So when I created an account on Azure, I got free credits.
You got?
So I got some free credits.
Free credits. Okay.
Yeah. So in AWS, how much?
There is no concept of free credits in AWS. They are providing free tier instance with limitations. That's equal to credits. Okay, Bharadwaj?
Okay.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you all. Thank you all. With this, we have completed EC2 service, and then we are moving to tomorrow the new concept called S3. Tomorrow we are moving to new service called as S3, simple storage service. What is S3? What is the advantage of S3? What are the features of S3? Interesting concepts, much more in tomorrow's session. Thank you very much and see you tomorrow. Bye everybody. Thank you very much.